Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining Braunweiss Team Talks, our informational webinar and Q&A hosted by Braunweiss Management Consulting Group. Today's presentation will be on why your website may be costing you clients. At Braunweiss, we specialize in digital solutions and CPA solutions. Our digital solutions range from centralized technology, operational systems, digital presence, and customer-facing solutions, while our CPA solutions range from accounting and finance operational enhancement, back office operations, payroll management, reporting, and year-end support. Today's webinar of why your website may be costing you clients will be presented by Madison, our business analyst. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, please type them in the Q&A chat section and I will ask Madison throughout the webinar.
Awesome, thank you, Chayton. To begin with why your website may be costing you clients, it's important to look at why websites are important in general. Websites, especially in today's day and age, is super important to establishing the credibility of your company. As technology continues to captivate the business world, it allows for your customer to have efficiency in finding information and easy access about your site. Something that will also help a lot about providing this information for your customers on your website will also save you a lot of time. As a business owner, you want to be able to save that time in explaining what you do and why you do it, and even maybe your price lists. On your website, your clients may be able to access all of this information and so much more with easy clicks and access. You can also provide e-commerce where you can have donation links and different access for your back-end data sources. Websites are also a great place to have your online presence be established. Using this, all of these techniques, you can really captivate your customer and even show them that they want to do business with you. Another key important thing about websites is the digital marketing advantage, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. So one thing about websites is that it is cost-effective marketing. You have a one-time development fee. You may pay for the domain and different accesses to your URL and even maybe a website designer, but that is it. You'll have this access 24 hours a day and it will always be there for you. You can extend your social media outreach. This is super important because with more customer engagement on your website, then you can also extend that customer engagement onto that social media platform as well. With more shares and more outreach, gets your voice out there to more leads. It's also accessible 24 hours a day, which is super important as a customer. You want to be able to have access to different information sources and about what they do at any time of the day, not just during your business hours. It also has company-based information that you have provided. Unlike different sources such as reviews and social medias, there's a lot of different ways that information about your company can be provided. But this way, it is all based off of what you want to be providing. It really can also give you a great way to extend your brand. What you want the information to say is what it can say. And it's also a great place to send your email subscribers. You can send them to your website if you want them to learn more or even make purchases or donations.
Great, Madison. Before we move on real quick, I got one question. Shishen asked, what's the difference between generic traffic and organic traffic when it comes to site visitors?
Yeah, so any type of traffic is super important for site visitors, but organic traffic is traffic that is earned, not paid for. So this can also include SEO, which is your search engine optimization. So this can be paid for. However, this is something that you want to have and that doesn't necessarily have to be paid for. It can be just a Google search and the customer can find your website, and that is traffic that you didn't really work too hard to get. Generic traffic is something that you pay for and is that you really strive to have. Something like pop-up ads on Facebook and different things like that is generic traffic because it's traffic based off of your doing. It has affected the customer in the way that wants them to come to your site. I would say organic traffic is the one that's most strived for because the customer can find your website through things such as different keywords and competitive keywords in the SEO, and basically just Google searches or just wanting to learn more. So this is awesome because it also shows that the customer is really interested and wants to know more about your business.
Great. One more question from Brian. He asked, there are lots of options in the market when it comes for website creation. Do you have any CMS platforms you recommend?
Yeah, for website creation, we recommend Wix here at Braun Weiss because we are partners with them. It is a great place to create a website, optimize your SEO platform, as well as keep backend data analytics. So this can show different super important analysis, such as how many people come up onto your website, how many people are engaged, and things like that. So Wix is an awesome platform at a pretty reasonable rate. And here at Braun Weiss, we also give a percentage off for our customers. All right. So we can go on to the next slide here. We talk about a website statistic. It takes users 50 milliseconds, that's 0.05 seconds, to form an initial opinion about a website. This is super important because it is such a quick amount of time that you can really get that initial opinion, which can be really awesome and it can be really negative for your business. So you might be doing it right here subconsciously with the two pictures we provided on this slide. On the left-hand side, you can see a more outdated style of a layout for a homepage. You can see different formats such as the font, the color sizes of the text, everything like that. Even the pictures are a little bit outdated, and it actually looks like they're using a very similar picture as well. Something here that we can really see is that we don't really want to learn too much more about this, and it almost looks like it's just so outdated that you just feel like something could be wrong with it. On the right side here, you can see that with brighter colors, different font sizes, different large fonts, small fonts, and even different buttons allows for customers to really just want to learn more, be creative with what they do on the site, click, scroll, all of those things like that. And even with the picture, it really shows a modern style and a modern look, and honestly makes me want to keep learning about this website. So here we're going to talk about some solutions for how we can really make our websites looking like the right side instead of the left side, and really captivating our audience in the quickest way possible. That statistic really proves a lot to me as well as everyone else should, because it really is just such a quick amount of time that consumers can really be affected and really get that first impression to be negative about the credibility of your company. So some things that you can work on for improving this is improving the overall website design. As we talked about in that first slide about the website designs, you can really just see the difference in the modern style versus the older style. Creating a place that's clean and modern is super important to what customers want to see nowadays. Using high quality photos can also establish that modern appeal, and graphics can really help you optimize using your space and using the most of it by establishing more content and things like that. But using graphics can really be more friendly to the eye. Limiting word count is super important, especially when we're talking about graphics, because we really don't want it to be a lecture. We want to be able to get our point across as quick as possible in those 50 milliseconds, as well as be able to really tell them the most important things about your company. Another super important thing about really optimizing your website is organized navigation system. You want it to be easy for every single user to use, no matter their background. You can have clients that are really technologically advanced and really not technologically advanced. And this can go either way. However, your website should overall be able to support every type of client.
One question before we jump on here, Madison. Brooks asked, how can we find more competitive keywords? Is there any type of tools or research that you could recommend, for helping increase SEO?
Yeah, I would recommend things, keywords that are important to your business and it's overall the main point, as well as really effective and useful words, like really important and big adjectives. People want to use just one word instead of a whole sentence to describe what they're looking for, and using that can allow for the search optimization to be really good. So using these adjectives can be, instead of saying great or something like that, you can say bigger words, more uses and things like that. You also want to use keywords that really overall just reflect who you are as a brand as well. You don't want just some words that say a few things. You want those to really represent who you are as a company and where you want to go in the future as well. All right, we can go to keeping it simple. So it's really important to keep it simple for your website design, because that's another key part of losing people. You don't want to overload them with too much stuff in the beginning. One statistic we have here says if given 15 minutes to consume content, 2/3 of people would rather read something beautifully designed than something plain. This is super important, and as you're designing a website, you really want to keep the user in mind. Keeping them in mind will allow for your content to be created based off of what they want to see. You want to keep that design simple, and you want to keep it beautiful at the same time. All right, so here we're going to talk about loading time. 39% of people stop engaging with the website if images won't load or take too long to load. Slow loading websites cost realtors $2.6 billion in lost sales each year. So those statistics actually just floored me, because one, that is so much money that is potentially lost each year, and 39% of people who stop engaging a website just because it takes a little bit longer to load. Now, as a business owner, you really want to use everything in your advantage to prevent something like this happening. So here's some solutions for preventing this to happen. Reviewing your website for all loading issues. So you can go through and different files and things like that, you can make sure nothing is broken. If you have broken images, you can fix them, and you can also just bring new images in as well. Larger file sizes actually cause for more loading problems than we think. So we want to use small file sizes, which is important to know as we're preaching, bring all great graphics and new images and really high quality photos. As much as you want to do that and bring that attention in, you also want to prevent those huge file sizes, so that if someone pulls your website up onto a desktop, it will take forever to load. No one wants that, and it'll be the quickest way to lose someone. So also fixing all of these things, and even fixing things like typos and different spelling errors, are huge pieces of information that show to the user that that's real attention to detail and organization for your company. Overall, your business is being reflected in this website, and it is your brand in the long run that is being represented, and you want it to give the best image out there for you.
Before we move on here, Madison, got a couple of questions. The first one is from Dooley. He asked, how can I measure my website loading time?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of applications online that you can measure your website loading time with. So they are speed test applications that you can enter your URL, and they are comprehensive tests that compress your URL and give you the exact time in which it takes for you to open your website. So these are super cool. There are a lot of options that you can look up online, and you can find them pretty easily. And it's a great source that you can use to really prevent this problem from happening.
Excellent. Next question I have for you is, do you know what an average loading time for a good website is?
Yeah, so the average loading time for a website is 10.3 seconds, which is super, super quick. Another important thing to think about for the average loading time is also the mobile version. So the mobile version actually takes a little bit longer at 27 seconds, around there. So that can be because of a lot of reasons, especially based off of the user end, if they have a lot of applications up or are in bad service areas. But typically mobile sites take a little bit longer just because of the compression of the website design, but it's also super important to keep those up to date and running well.
That's excellent. Couple of questions here that are kind of related to that just kind of hopped in. Kate asked, how important is it to make your website mobile friendly? And will the mobile friendly version of your website support both iOS and Android platforms?
Yeah, so supporting a mobile site is actually so important, especially in today's day and age. So a lot of users can go and access websites online and do so. So this is really important. And especially right now, in just with everything in the world, we are all constantly on our phones. Everyone has a phone. All consumers that all of your target audience will have a phone and will be using it effectively. So it is super important to have your mobile site be able to use this mobile site configuration. And that is also another thing that Wix, the site that we are partnership with, provides for you. And while you're designing a website, you can click between mobile site and desktop version. In Wix platform, it actually shows the mobile version as if you're on a phone itself. So that's a really cool use of the technology and something that all users can do, not just website designers. Anyone can really design the website into the mobile site version, which is really cool. And for the other question is for the iOS and the Galaxy, was it?
Android.
Android. Yeah, so all of those can be supported onto the mobile site, which is really great. So it can be supported on all of the universal platforms. So it might look a little bit different colors and font wise as the iOS switches. However, it can really be accessed throughout all of the platforms, which is really awesome because then it really can get you access to every single person that can want it.
Excellent. Last question we have about kind of website here is, will compressing pictures help with loading speed?
I wouldn't say compressing pictures would help that just because no matter what the file size is, compressing it wouldn't really change the size of the file itself. So you might want to choose a different photo that can support that. However, for configuring a mobile site, you will be compressing photos. That's just how it works for configuring that site into a smaller mobile version. And that can really create a great space for mobile users to really shrink that file size down so it doesn't look like it's so big and doesn't look like it belongs.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome. So we'll keep going here. So first impressions are super important, and 94% is design related, which is so crazy and a really important statistic to look at as you're designing a website. So all of this, you want to design your website based off of the users. You want to use colors that you think appeal to everyone. You want to use font sizes that people can read and are actually fun to read and cool to look at. You also want to limit your advertisements. Pop-up advertisements can lose a lot of people as they're going through a website, and it's also just another stepping roadblock in the way that they don't want to have, just like loading images. You just want to keep that user experience as simple and easy as possible. Vague opening content is also super important because just like if you're reading a book, you want to be captivated in that first few sentences. And those first few sentences will really open it up to, will I want to keep reading this? And will I just even enjoy the end result? So opening content is super important to really captivate those first impressions. Hard to use search feature is really important, especially when we're thinking about everyone in our target audience. We might be having people who are a little bit older, who don't really know how to use a lot of online sources, and hard to use search features are just another reason for them not to be able to use your site and just have a hard time with it in general. No matter what, no matter who it is, you don't want them to have a hard time, and you want them to have the easiest access possible to what they're looking for on your website. Writing and lighting and eye directionals are also super important to thinking about the design of a website. So as we know, we read left to right, so you might want to keep the reading left to right just to be a little bit easier for them. Directionals are also important, and you can use things such as colors, where you can draw eyes into the middle of a page, or things like that if you want to really draw the audience to specific content or specific pictures that you want to be represented. And for conclusion, it's really important to just remember that this website is permanent. So as we're thinking about our cost-effective marketing, if you're a small business and you're really wanting to get your name out there, is it useful to get an ad that might go away soon, or a website that will be there forever? You can also reflect on the credibility of your business. Overall, what your website is who you are as a business, and you really want to reflect that in the most positive ways possible. It conveys important information. There might be different content and different facts that you might want to be reflected about your business that might not have been reflected before. Websites are important places for that and can provide all of that information with your control. It also can introduce you to the global market. So having a website just introduces you to a whole entire new audience of people, because it's not just people who are around you. I know local stores can really profit off of this website optimization, because it can really open up to not people who are around you, but everywhere in the world. And just remember that you have control. You can control what's on your website, as well as you can control things looking at your statistics, such as who is coming onto your website, how long are they staying, and how engaged they are. And you can really go from there and see how those numbers are presenting and really work with your website from there. And just remember that your website has the ability to bring your business goals to life.
Excellent, Madison. Thank you so much for your time. Just a few follow-up questions before we wrap this up. The first question is from she. She asked, what are some common strategies to keep your website simple while remaining, user-friendly and aesthetically pleasing?
Yeah, I would recommend graphics and buttons and different interactive slides and things like that. These are all cool ways to keep your website looking really fresh, new, and innovative, all while providing that simple informational source for you. You do want to provide your information in the end, but you want to keep it beautiful, of course. And interactive slides with pictures, different graphics that really show animation and bring your eyes there can do both of those things really well for you. So I definitely recommend doing those.
Excellent. One more question from Shabir. He asked, what are some important website statistics that we need to monitor on a daily basis?
Yeah, you definitely need to monitor how many visits you get, how many new visits you get, because that's also super important. Is the difference between that is you want new people coming in as well as others. Bounce rates, so you want to know how long it takes for them to be kind of not interested anymore. And different engagement, if you have different sources for implementing data and information, then you can use that engagement rate to really show how engaged your audience is. You really want to see if they're coming onto the website, how well are they interacting with it? And if they are on the website, are they really involved in what you're doing and what you want to achieve? Another really important thing is mobile site views. So all of these things you want to look at for your mobile site as well, because these can provide different statistics. So just like your desktop, you want to see the visits, the engagement, and all of those things on your mobile site to see, and you can even compare as well to see if your mobile site is getting more, if your desktop is getting more, and things like that.
Excellent, Madison. Well, that's it for our questions for today. Madison, thank you so much for this informational webinar on why your website might be costing you clients. And thank you everyone for joining and asking engaging questions. If you would like to learn more about Braun Weiss and our services, follow us on LinkedIn, send us an email at contact@braunweiss.net, or visit our website, www.braunweiss.net. Thank you everyone and have a great day.